Okay, now we're going to talk about irregular resolutions, and I can summarize this one by just saying that it doesn't have to ever resolve, right? We could just have a 5 of 5 and no 5 that ever comes. That would be pretty weird, which is why we call it irregular. Um, but it can happen, right? It can totally happen. So let's look at an example. So I have an example here, and this is actually a chord progression from Mozart. And I'm not gonna input the whole piano part because that would take me all day. So I'm just gonna kind of make a reduction here. Okay, so we're in C. So we have 2 bars of C, and our voicing here is gonna kind of matter. So let's do that. Okay, so 2 bars of C, nothing strange there. Then we have this. It's kind of a weird voicing, but I think you get it. So what do we have here? C, F, A. We have a 4, right? F chord, that's a 4. Then I need to switch over to quarter notes now. We have one more beat of that. Actually, we don't. I lied. We get that. So what do we have here? We have a 1 again. Now things start getting strange. Now we have C sharp, B flat. That already gives us a pretty good clue as to what might be happening, right? Because in what cases do we see a sharp and a flat in the same chord? There's not many cases in which that happens. So it's probably a leading tone chord, right? A 7 diminished 7 of something. Let's add one more chord and then we'll see if we can solve that. Okay. Actually, let's keep going and add one more chord. It's getting weird. It's getting really weird. Okay, let's see what we've got so far. This is a weird one, so hold on to your hats. Okay, so we've got 1. We've got another 1. We've got a 4. I feel like I'm like calling out lotto numbers or something. 4. And we've got a 1. Okay. So, what's happening here? Leading tone chord, yes. Of what? So, do we have perfect minor thirds all the way up? Is it a fully diminished? So C sharp to E to G to B flat. Yes. So fully diminished. Fully diminished 7th chord of, right? What are we of? Well, one of those notes has to be a leading tone, right? So let's figure out what our next chord is and see if anything makes sense. We have a D, A, D, F sharp. So we're on a 2 chord, but a major 2 chord. Okay? So that's okay. Let's call this what it is, which is 7 diminished 7 of 2. Okay, so this C sharp is leading to this D. So even though what we get is a D major here, we're still going to call this D minor because that's what we would expect. Okay, so we're leading to 2 here. Diminished 7 of 2. What we get here is a 2 chord, or is it a 2 chord, actually? Because we know when we see a major 2 chord, what does that very often mean we're actually seeing? We just saw this over in our previous example right there, right? A major 2 chord very often says that we are actually in the world of 5 of 5. Okay, so we're going to go leading tone 7 of 2 to 5 of 5, right? This is getting bonkers. What comes next? B, A flat, D, F natural. Now remember, F natural is in key, so we only have one note out of key here. So what does that make? It's a 7th chord of some kind, right? Because we have 4 different notes. So B, D, F, A flat. That is a fully diminished 7th chord, but of what? If it's based on B, it's actually fully in key. It's a fully diminished 7th chord in C. So it's not of anything because it's of C. It's of tonic, right? Now this A flat is weird. So what we would expect in this key is a natural. But, and that would give us a half diminished. But they've given us a full diminished here. So, and that's okay. It's a curveball. It'll kind of sort of make sense in a second if we just keep going. So let's keep going. Let's go to the next chord. What do we have? We have C, G, E, and C. Okay, so that looks pretty much like a 1 chord, right? Then we have F sharp. Whoops. F sharp, A, C, E flat. Okay, we're almost at the end of this pattern, so let's just finish it out. G, G, C, D. Well, that looks awfully fishy. Second half of that chord, G, F natural, B and D, all natural, and then C, E, C. And that's the end. Okay. So let's get our labeling hats on and see if we can figure this out. So what do we have here? C, C, E, G. 1. Easy. Okay. How about here? We have probably another diminished 7, right? Because we have a sharp and a flat, and this is one of the rare cases we see that. So let's see. F sharp, A, C, E flat. So yeah, fully diminished 7th chord, but not the one in key. So it's going to be an of something. Of what? Probably that, because that's probably our leading tone. And that is a G, D. We don't have a B though. We have this weird, in pop music we would call this a suspension. But we have a different name for it here because it has a different purpose. So it's a G something, right? So we can call this of 5. Okay, so this is a G something. It's a suspension. It's a different kind of suspension than in pop music. But we've seen these before. This is a 5, and what we would actually call this is, so the C is a 4. So I'm going to call that 4 resolving to 3. 4-3 suspension. We've seen that before. Okay, so 5-4-3 suspension. Here, I should probably, this should be in a smaller font, but I can't really do that easily in MuseScore. So 5-4-3 suspension, and then we get 2, 1. Okay, so let's look at what we've got here. 1-1-4-1. Nothing weird there. Okay, diminished 7 of 2. So now we expect a 2 chord, and we get a 2 chord kind of nowhere. That's fine. We sort of get a 2 chord right here, right? It's a major 2 chord, but it's going to work like 5 of 5. And then where do we get our actual 5? Not till here, and it's not even a real 5. It's got a 4-3 suspension. We don't actually get a 5 till here. Then we get a diminished of 1. Then we get a diminished of 5, and then we finally get our 5. So we really never get this 2. Maybe we get it there. It's a weird meandering chord progression. But why does it work? Well, let's hear it first. Right, it works pretty well. It sounds pretty natural. Check this out. There's a couple interesting things happening here. One is this top line. Right? It's going chromatic down. G, G, F sharp, F natural, E, E flat, D. Right? D again, and then C. So there's this hidden chromatic line in there that kind of makes everything flow downward in this really kind of fun way. There's also sort of a chromatic inner line too. B flat, A flat, G, and then it kind of moves off course. So we get that much of it. And then up. So there's these nice inner lines that really kind of glue everything together. So it helps it really work. Let's hear it one more time just because it was kind of fun. Right? It's just almost silly, right? It's very Mozart. So irregular resolutions. We don't always need to get what we expect by the tonicization. That's the point. Enjoy.